Hi guys, so I'm putting this before, not before the Flirty Friendships podcast, but this is coming before the Being Friends with Famous People video. In that video, I seem very annoyed, and the reason why is because in my life, I have had a lot of people that have pretended to be friends with me to basically get close to a band from Ohio called Public. And even my friend Tom, who does music too. A lot of people have done that. And so in that video, I was very annoyed when talking about not so much the do's, but the don'ts. I was very annoyed about it. And personally, for me, using the term bestie, that crosses a boundary in my mind, like in my opinion, that crosses a boundary. And when I see people posting pictures of people that I'm friends with, and like I know Public has other friends because I've met with them at shows. I've become friends with the people that are friends with them as well. Like I have a core group of people that are friends with them as well. But, you know, it's like I see other people who have not been mentioned, have not been like, do you know this person? Do you know? And they're calling them bestie. And I know it's a slang term, but I just feel wrong about using it when I'm not actual friends with the person. Like if you've established with a famous person that it's a joke, kind of like my friend was talking about, she established with this person that she's talking about. She established with this person that there's like an inside joke of calling them bestie, and they've established it with that person. Like, let's say for example, to explain this, if I were to go up to Ben from Public and I were to say, hey, like, you're my bestie, and I was making it an inside joke with him, before I was friends with them, I would be able to call him that because he would know, like, it's an inside joke. It's a thing that we joke about. It's funny. But for people who don't have that and just post like, oh, I just met Ross Lynch last night, my bestie, or I just met my bestie Ross Lynch, and for you to not be friends with him, in my mind, that crosses a boundary. Obviously, Ross probably doesn't care. But I just wanted to explain why I may have looked annoyed, and I want to apologize that I seemed annoyed and everything. And again, I said it in the video, but I again wanted to apologize if I come across rude or annoyed. It's just there's a lot that goes into this topic, and we didn't dive too deep into it. We can dive deeper if you would prefer about like I don't know the right word, but like we can dive deeper into what it's actually like to be friends with someone who's famous, because in this video we were just giving you the do's and don'ts of what to do to be friends with famous people, but we weren't basically telling you like what it's like. So if you want a video about what it's actually like, we can make that. That'll be a more lighthearted video, but I was giving you these do's and don'ts as a cautionary tale. I was telling you, you know, like there are a lot of people that try to be friends with you to get to these people, and that can really hurt your feelings. And there are people that will say you're lying, and there are people that'll tear you down, and there's a lot that goes into being friends with people, and obviously people aren't going to believe you because the famous person you're friends with isn't going to talk about you 24/7 like public on the internet. Like that's just not real life. That's not what happens. Like even if I become friends with like Taylor Swift, I'm not going to talk about it 24/7. So it's like, you know, it's really hard to put into words how hard it is to explain why I felt the way I felt, because, you know, there's a lot going on, and I was also thinking about the video that is coming out next week that we're going to make. And that video involves a famous person, you know. So yeah, but anyway, this was just to get on and say, I went on a tangent a little bit, I'm sorry. This was just to get on to say, I do apologize if I seemed rude or annoyed or anything. It was not directed at any of you watching. It was just from some internal frustration I have about this situation, this topic that we're talking about. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and hope you enjoy the video. Bye.
Hi guys.
So I'm wearing a certain sweater today because of what we are talking about in this video.
I'm just wearing a softball sweatshirt, LOL.
It's in loving memory because my public one is dirty, but you saw that one in the last 2 weeks videos. I was wearing that. But the reason why I'm wearing this is because today we're going to talk about being friends with famous people in bands or any type of media.
Yeah, this could be
really
social media, this could be traditional media like music, this could be, we don't know anybody that's on TV.
No.
Well, kind of, but like he doesn't have his own show on TV. I kind of do. Anyway, but like TV, athletes, all of that kind of stuff.
I know 2 people involved in music, that's it.
Yeah.
One, unless you know the lore of In Loving Memory, you're not going to know one of them because he was in that band. The other one is the group Public that had that song Make You Mine that blew up on TikTok.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's still crazy how far that, how far that song went.
Anyway, ignore me. Rain, I have allergies, so ignore that.
Also, I said this in the last video, but just if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm folding my laundry because this is my only off day of the week this week. So this is the only day I have time to do it, so you're just gonna have to watch me fold some clothes. So sorry in advance.
But before we get into it, grab your grab your bowls, mugs, teacups, bottles, and jump into the tea with us. Woo, cheers. Mine's empty.
Yeah, hers is empty, mine's not.
But so I kind of have a do's and don'ts list of things to do.
Yeah, and we're not going to get into like specifics either because that's
too long.
Yeah, and it's also like over a line that we don't want to cross.
We're going to start with the do's. Basically, the first do is talk to them a couple of times. Mm-hmm. You don't want to never talk to
Yeah, you're not going to be friends with people if you don't talk to them.
And then when you talk, you make inside jokes eventually. I have inside jokes with Public and Tom. You know, you make like, Tom's the guy's name, by the way. I realized I didn't say it. You know, and it's just, you joke around with each other. You eventually get to a point where you're comfortable around each other and you're recognized when you go up to them. And obviously, I didn't put this on the list, but start with smaller people first that aren't as famous. Because, like, people just starting out in, like, music and stuff, because it's gonna be harder to become friends with, like, the likes of Ariana Grande or Taylor Swift or somebody that's, like, all the way up there.
Yeah.
So start with someone locally that you know, or just a band opening for somebody. I mean, we met Public for the first time, my sister and I, when they opened for Jesse McCartney. I met, well, actually, Tom was through the internet, but you know what I'm saying. Basically, like, go up to meet the opening people, and you could end up being friends with them.
Yeah, go see opening bands on tour, please.
Yeah. Meet them every time after the show. Like I said, the more you meet them, the more they'll start to recognize you, and then more conversations build from there.
Also, don't go into any of these friendships or, like, being friends with people because they're famous. That's just icky. And they're gonna know.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna know that you just want to be around them because you want clicks or views or whatever. But, like, if there's someone that you see online or whatever the case is, and you're just like, oh, I want to be like that person, or whatever, in terms of who they are as a person, look at them like that. Don't look at them as humans. Don't look at them as an object to get you where you want to go. That's just gross. That can be an added benefit later on, but just go to them because you want to be friends with them as people, or like just want to introduce yourself as people.
Yeah. Another do is just be a decent human being, be respectful, don't freak out and go crazy. They're just human beings. Like, they're and this sounds bad when I say it because everybody's special in their own way, but they're not, like, when you actually talk to them, like, they're a human being.
Yeah, they're not gods.
It literally just feels like you're talking to a human being. Like, that's literally all it is.
And also, this isn't to say you can't be starstruck. In life, you can. I have been.
Just don't go crazy.
I can't even say how many times I've been starstruck. But also, like, I've been starstruck with athletes that I now consider my, like, acquaintances. That I don't talk to every day, but there's, like, that recognition there and that mutual respect. But I didn't go into it and go to meet them because I'm like, oh my god, I want to be famous, da 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 da. It was more like, I want to see how this human goes about the world outside of the sport that I love. And, like, just say, like, I'm a fan of you, I support you, like, this is really cool what you're doing, and then just move along. And they're gonna be like, if you're not, like, thirsting over them or whatever it is, like, publicly, also, they're gonna say that, like, oh, you respect me as a human being, I'm not just an object of attraction to you.
One of the members of Public said, I'll answer DMs if it's, like, music questions or questions about the band, but if it's, like, you're so hot, I'm not going to answer that.
Right.
Again, respect their boundaries. Everybody has boundaries and that you don't cross, and you don't want to cross somebody's boundaries because you don't even know what their boundaries are. You're just getting to know them. You don't. So just treat them like you would a normal acquaintance on the street if you're just meeting them for the first time. Respect the boundaries. Don't get in their face. Don't get in their space. Just say hi and just talk.
And if you talk to them, just be like, hey, how are you? Like, what's going on? How was your day? Like, how was, if you were at a show, be like, how was the show for you? Like, how do you feel? Whatever. And they're going to be like, oh, this person actually cares about me because you do.
Be nice and welcoming because they might not be from your area originally. I know that Public is from Ohio. They weren't from the state that we live in. So we were nice and welcoming, and they feel welcomed every time they come here and they see my sister and I because they know us now because we were always nice and welcoming and meeting them all the time. So they feel more comfortable coming here because of that now.
Yeah, and they could even, like, ask you for recommendations of places to go or whatever. Like, that's not uncommon, I don't think. It doesn't really happen much, like, with the athletes that I know, but because they're in this city all the time now, like, for the sport that they play. And they're here a lot. So it's, like, not during the off season, but during the season, and it's a very long season. I'm not specifying what sport because I shouldn't. But they're here for a very long time, like, most of the months out of the year. So they know kind of what's around and stuff like that. So
another is you can tag them in a picture of you listening to their new song, like a screenshot of you listening to their music, because they'll be like, oh, this person is actually listening to my music. Like, this person is actually liking my music, because they like to see that, like, people are actually listening, and that's fine. You could do that when they release a new single or a new album. You could be like, hey, I've been listening to this nonstop, like, or you could be like, or you could take a screenshot of the song and be like, this is my favorite song from the new album. And they'll really like that you're listening to their things.
And then, like, with a sports thing, if they have a really good game or do something really well on the field, you can be like, you can even make it a joke. This is what I do, but I'm like, and I don't, obviously it's not serious when I say it and everybody knows it, but I can be like, yeah, best friend, that's my best friend, you go. Like, you just as a silly thing, and they know that that's not, like, you're not actually legitimately saying that you're their best friend. It's just like, this is funny.
Yeah, I will mention that specifically later, but, you can put up your picture with them after a while and say you would love to see them again, but don't do it all the time, okay? Because you don't want to overwhelm them by tagging them in the same picture 10,000 times. Like, you can do it right after you meet them. You can do it, like, a few years, being like, oh, I wish I could see them again. You know, it's been, like, 3 years. I wish I could see them again type of thing.
Yeah, or, like, miss my buds or whatever.
talk to them like they're a normal person, that they used to be a normal person before fame. I actually do have an instance where this worked. We had met Ross Lynch from the Driver era when they first started being the Driver era,
and Austin and Ally, all of that stuff.
He was like, everybody was fawning over him. Everybody was losing their mind, and I was the only one that treated him like a normal person, and he respected me so much when I did that.
Mm-hmm.
He respected me so much when I just said, "Hi, I really liked you on Austin and Ally," and then we got a picture, and that was it. And he was so calm, and he was so...
Shout out.
He was so respectful of the fact that I treated him like a normal person, and I wasn't fawning all over him.
And for me, I was there during this, but also I was at the point where I had been a fan and seen them live multiple times by this... Actually, no. Only one time at that point. But, like, Ross Lynch was one person that I was, like, starstruck over, but it wasn't in the way of, like, oh my god, I want him so bad. It was more like, oh my god, that's Ross Lynch. That's so cool that he's right here.
Yeah.
I wasn't, like, fawning over him like everybody else was. And I'm not saying everybody else as in literally every person, but, like, I was more like, oh my god, that's Ross Lynch. He's right there. I never thought that I would be this up close and personal with Ross Lynch. He was just a starstruck moment for me.
And that's funny, because that was the same show where Public opened for them.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now we're getting into the don'ts. That was all my do's.
Yeah.
So now we're getting into the don'ts. Now, I understand the slang, so everybody watching, everybody in the room, let me finish this before I, like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The day after you meet them, do not call them your bestie. Now, I mean... You can use the slang term. I don't like that that's a slang term. I don't really agree with it personally because it just feels weird to me.
Yeah, it's
it feels like crossing a boundary for me personally. But I would just say don't mean the actual use of the word if you're going to use it. Make it clear that it's the slang use of the word, not the actual use. Because if you actually think that you're their best friend, honey, if you met them once... they are not your best friend. You have to work to have someone be... It's normal friendships. You can't just be best friends with somebody, like, the first time you meet them. It takes time to work up to best friend. You could be friends, you could be acquaintances the first time you meet them, but best friend, you have to work up to that.
Right.
Like, that's something that... I know, you just want to be, like, besties with them right away, but you do have to work up to it. It's like a normal friendship. You have to work up to that.
And also, like, in the context of that, too, of somebody that does use that term and, like, uses that as slang, I only use it in terms of one specific person because I've met that person multiple times and that there's been, like, private moments between the two of us where I know that that's okay and it's not gonna affect anything, like in terms of conversation, not like this person is literally on my private story on my Instagram, so like it's fine. Just it's like you have to have that type of rapport in order to like make it so that they know it's not like a joke, and it also fits their personality really well. So it's, like it's a personality thing too.
You just gotta...
You have to know when to do it and when to not.
If you know the person, like, really well, like, you've had multiple conversations with them, they consider you a friend, like, you've heard them say they consider you a friend, okay, you can do it. But if you've only had one conversation with them and you've only met them once, maybe don't do it.
Yeah, don't jump into it.
Yeah, so...
that might hurt you in the end.
Here's another thing. Idea. And, I mean, a lot of people ask me this question, so I just want to put it out there. Don't assume you get special perks like going backstage.
Oh, my God, no. Don't assume that at all. That bothers the heck out of me,
I've been friends with Public. They don't invite me backstage.
Yeah, and that's because I say we, because by proxy, but, like, that's because we are friends with them, but, like, we don't talk to them every day. Like, we don't talk to them all the time or whatever.
I don't even text them.
Yeah, we don't text them. We don't have their phone numbers or anything. We're more, like, when we say friends, we mean, like, we're acquaintances with them, and there's a level of recognition that other people might not have. And that's not a brag either. That's just like, that's just what it is, I guess.
I mean, the whole thing is, like, I can DM, like, one of the members and, like, he'll answer me. But it's, like, I'm not texting them. So it's, like, if they see us, they're very, like, open and, oh, my gosh, hi, like, and things like that. Like, one of them screams my sister's name every time she goes up to him.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's, like, so we get that
There's
kind of, like...
there that's different.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, so don't assume that, because that's not what happens.
You have to build
that's
rapport
like for
like
family.
That. Yeah.
And like childhood friends type of thing.
Yeah.
Don't post all over you're friends with them. People try to pretend to be friends with you to get to them. That's more of a cautionary tale. I've had that happen before. And like
people will get jealous and think that you have such a reach to this person that they think they can get in on, and that's just not how it is.
Yeah, and it's like you don't want to have those people around that just want to be close to you so they can get close to them. Because first of all, that person's using you, but also you don't know what their intentions are with the person you're friends with.
Exactly.
So just be wary of those people. If they seem too overly friendly, you might want to pull back, or at least put the walls up. But then if they only want to talk about them, pull back.
Yeah.
Entirely.
And that's another thing I have, and this isn't in reference to any of the athletes that I was talking about before. I'm close friends with people that are famous on social media, I guess I should say. And last year, my name was dragged through the mud because of my... I don't want to say attachment because that doesn't feel like the right word, but my, like, association with one of my good friends, to the point that it was ruined for months because people wanted to come in and take everything that I had because they wanted it for themselves. They were jealous of how close I was to this certain, I guess, group of people, and they infiltrated when they made it to the point that I had to pull back. To the point that even to this day, I'm still repairing the damage that they've done. So don't trust everybody with that information either, because I definitely did that. And I said that to them, thinking that these people were my actual friends, that I was close with this person and I thought things were going to go one way, but they didn't. And I'm keeping this very, like, not brief, but, like, I'm not putting in any details because I don't want it, I don't want them to find this and have it used against me again. But it was very much used against me for months, to the point that online you couldn't see me without seeing these issues that weren't real, that they had made up, and these false narratives that were made up because I was friends with this person and because of how close we were. So don't trust everybody with the information of, like, don't tell everyone, hey, I am friends with this person, they have a following online, or, like, you know, whether they, and I didn't tell them that they have a following online, it's just, it was somebody that we all knew. I just knew this person a lot better because I was actually friends with them. So as soon as they found out, they jumped in and started to befriend me in order to get to that person. And now that person, we had a conversation and they know what actually was going on. They know that they were just trying to get to him, and he backed off and is not friends with any of them either. But also, we aren't really friends that much anymore because of everything that happened. So don't tell everyone everything. And this is not even just in terms of being friends with famous people. This is just in terms of, in general, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
So, also, sorry if that seemed like really long-winded. I didn't know I was going to talk about that. I kind of wanted to avoid it, but it seemed appropriate, so.
The next don't is no jumping into personal topics right away. There are a lot of things that you don't want to say. And, you know, there are a lot of things that just aren't appropriate for first-time conversation. Things that you probably don't want to have a first-time conversation with them about. So just be mindful of
first or
what
even
you are
second conversations.
saying.
Yeah.
Just be mindful. That's basically what that is.
Yeah, that kind of ties into what I was saying too.
Don't assume you know everything about them. Please don't.
Yeah,
Please
you don't.
You are not super close with them. You have not known them their whole life.
Right.
You do not know everything about them. They do not know everything about you. So just again, have the filter. Be mindful.
And that's not to say that you can't build a relationship or friendship enough to where you do, but just in the beginning.
In the beginning, I'm saying even if you're a
wary.
fan of them, just know you don't know everything.
Yeah.
Don't be one of those crazy stalker fans.
Yeah, like no matter how public they are online, no matter how much of their life they show you, you will never see everything.
Exactly. Don't tag them in every single photo or thing you put up. Again, I know some people would tag a certain band that I'm not even going to say the name of the band because it caused problems for me in the past, but there was a certain band where everybody tagged all the members in everything they put up, even if it was just a picture of their own face, like the fans.
Oh.
So it's like people would tag them in everything they put up, even if it was a selfie of themselves. And I'm like, they don't need to be tagged in this. Like that. So just don't overdo it because they may even block you. Like if they feel like it's getting to a point, and that's the exact opposite of what you want where you want to get. Exactly.
And as a fan.
Exactly. So just make sure to be mindful. Like, if it's a picture of them or your picture with them every once in a while, again, every once in a while is fine. Just not every day.
Or, like, if it's a picture of you in, like, merch or something.
Yeah.
Or, like, a new product, or, like, going to see them live, or whatever it is. Or at a game, or whatever. You can, if you want to tag them because they're at the game, or you're there with a jersey that has that person on it, or whatever the case is, then that's fine. That's, you know, no harm, no foul on that one. But don't tag them in everything because they're not going to look at everything. Yeah. Like, if it's something specific you want them to see, sure, go ahead and tag them. But also, when you do that, you have to know that they're not going to see everything because they get tagged in so many things.
Yeah. And the last don't, I think, is the most important. Don't fling yourself or throw yourself at them.
Yeah, don't do that. That's really stupid.
Don't do it.
Because they're gonna know.
Yeah. That I might have sounded a little harsh, but the reason why I did is because I see so many people doing these don'ts on the internet or at shows. Mm-hmm. And I've always treated famous people like normal people. Like, that's just how I've always been. Every time we meet somebody, I treat them like that. I talk to them like they're a normal person. Her and my sister can attest to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all do.
And so it's like, I just don't, I understand the being starstruck, but we also have to use our filters. And that's what I really wanted to get across is please use a filter. Please use good judgment. Please use common sense. That's all I wanted to get across. I wasn't trying to be harsh. I hope I didn't sound harsh. I just wanted to get across that I really hope I did not sound harsh.
No,
I just wanted to get across that, you know.
We have a point we're trying to make because we want to protect not only ourselves, but the people, the famous people or whatever that ambiguous you are talking to and stuff like that, because there's boundaries that they also, you have to realize a lot of them, as they get bigger, they have their own, they don't have their own, like, agency to a point. Like, they have to interact with people to a point sometimes. So you have to just knowing how to navigate that, even if you're not friends. Like, just, we're probably going to title this Being Friends with Famous People or something along those lines, but, like, it also is just how to treat a famous person. Like, at the end of the day, this whole thing is literally treat people how you want to be treated. If you want that person to respect you, respect them. Yeah. That's kind of really it, honestly.
Yeah, so next week is going to be... We wanted to do this video purposefully first before next week's video. Next week's video is... a story that does involve people, and it's a doozy. It's a doozy. Next week is a doozy. Have fun with that video next week. I won't have fun, but you have fun watching that video next week. But I feel like it needs to be told because a lot of people aren't talking about this type of thing I'm going to talk about in next week's video. So it's definitely a must watch. It's definitely important to know. But anyway, thank you guys for watching this week's. You know, please just follow these do's and please be aware of, you know, these don'ts and things like that. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in next week's episode.
Yep. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Bye.